There's something almost poetic about how the mind finds ways to make unbearable pain feel bearable. It's remarkable, really. The lengths will go to construct a reality that feels manageable, one that supports whatever narrative we've already decided we need to believe. And I've been constructing mine for weeks now, carefully weaving together threads of truth and fiction until I had something that looked like a reason, something that felt like justification. I started the fight with you. I know that now. I started it because I was feeling vulnerable, unsettled in a way that scared me. Instead of sitting with those uncomfortable feelings, instead of addressing them with intention or grace, I did what I've always done when I'm afraid. I built a story around them. A story where you were the villain, where you didn't want me, where you were callous and uncaring. It was easier than admitting that maybe, just maybe, I was the one who was falling apart. I told myself you didn't want me because that's the story I've always told myself. It's the one I know best. The one where I'm too much, where I love too deeply, where I give too much of myself to people who can't possibly give it back. So I told you I wanted a break, hoping against hope that you'd panic, that you'd rush to apologize, that you'd say something. Anything that would make the ache in my chest subside. That would make me feel safe again. But you didn't. You didn't fall to your knees and atone. You didn't give me the reassurance I was desperately craving. And so I did what I do best when I don't get what I need. I escalated. I became combative, accusatory. I painted myself as the victim, picking apart your character like I was conducting some kind of investigation into your worthiness. I cornered you with my words, then acted as though I hadn't. I threatened to leave, and then I didn't. I made it impossible for you to win. Because that's what I do, isn't it? I create these impossible situations where the most likely outcome confirms everything I'm afraid of. That this love wasn't real. That you never really wanted me. That I'm too broken, too complicated, too much for anyone to handle. I orchestrated it all so perfectly that when you finally walked away, I could tell myself it was because you were the one who gave up. That you were the quitter. That you were the one who led me on and then couldn't handle the weight of what we had. I could paint your detachment as emotional carelessness, the kind that disrupts families, that leaves wreckage for someone else to clean up. After all, I was the one who wanted to stay. I was the one fighting for us. I was the one who still believed we could make it work. But here's the thing about stories we tell ourselves. They're rarely the whole truth. And the truth is, there might be some validity to what I was feeling. You have been distant lately. You have pulled away in ways that felt intentional, calculated almost. But it's not that simple, is it? I think a lot of the magic came from believing we were feeling it in equal measure. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was loved the way I'd always dreamed of being loved. Completely, unconditionally, without reservation. But that felt too good to be true. So I started looking for flaws, for reasons why someone like you could love someone like me. There had to be a catch, some ugly truth waiting to emerge when I was at my most vulnerable. Despite all the elaborate storytelling my mind managed to assemble in secret, a few truths remain. I love you deeply. It's the kind of love that comes once, if at all. It's the kind that changes you, that makes you believe in things you never thought possible. And I was right in my initial assessment. You are absolutely too good for me. Not perfect, of course. You've shown sides of yourself lately that have given me pause, moments where I've wondered if maybe I was seeing who you really are beneath the surface. But I'm not in denial about the fact that my own deeper dysfunctions often dwarf yours. None of this was calculated on my part, not consciously. I've stumbled blindly through the past couple of weeks, confused and desperate in a way I've never experienced before. Why was I doing this? What was I hoping to accomplish? I think I was trying to prove something, to you, to myself, to the universe. I think I was trying to prove that I mattered, that I was worth fighting for, that I wasn't just another person you'd eventually grow tired of. But your silence felt like confirmation that I cared more. That I always would. I was aching for you, and you wouldn't even send me a text. Do you know how painful that is? To love someone so completely and have them disappear like you never existed. To pour your heart out and receive nothing in return but emptiness. I get the sense that your exhaustion goes much farther than me and our relationship. You were still in your first marriage when you were my age. 2 divorces and 16 years later. And I can sympathize with the possibility that you might be feeling a little fed up. Fed up with love, fed up with commitment, fed up with the idea that maybe this time could be different. I understand that now, even if I didn't then. One of the things that has always intrigued me about you is how unknowable you are to me. There's a part of your mind that feels like my own. We think alike, we see the world in similar ways. But there's another part that's so foreign to me that I can't even begin to decode it. You've cited that as a reason we shouldn't be together, but ironically, it's what keeps me hanging on to your every word. You are endlessly interesting to me. You challenge me, frustrate me, inspire me, and confuse me all at once. You said that it seemed like I wanted a relationship that was more fiery. But I don't. I want a relationship that is complex and dynamic and profound. I used to believe that relationships were about comfort and compatibility, but now I understand that a meaningful relationship shakes you up. It reveals the parts of yourself that you've ignored, and challenges you in ways that force a sometimes painful transformation. You have unraveled me in the deepest and most necessary way. You've shown me parts of myself I didn't know existed, both beautiful and terrifying. You've made me question everything I thought I knew about love, about myself, about what I'm capable of feeling. Now I am exposed and vulnerable, and I don't know what to do with all the love I have for you. I don't know where to put it now that you're not here. I keep thinking about all the moments we shared, the late-night conversations that stretched into dawn, the way you'd look at me like I was the only person in the world, the quiet understanding that passed between us without words. I think about the dreams we talked about, the future we sketched out in fragments and whispers. I think about how real it all felt, how possible it seemed, right up until it wasn't. I will always believe we were meant to be more than 2 people with a shared past. So I'll embarrass myself. I'll fall on my sword and try until you tell me not to. Because nothing has ever felt more important than you. Nothing has ever made me feel more alive, more seen, more understood. And maybe that's the real tragedy of all this. Not that we're apart, but that I couldn't figure out how to love you without also destroying us. That I couldn't find a way to be vulnerable without also becoming manipulative. That I couldn't ask for what I needed without also demanding what you couldn't give. My strengths lie in my ability to grow and evolve, as well as my willingness to admit when I'm wrong. If only you could know how much I have had to unlearn already. How much I can still change. I am quick to admit fault because the idea that I have somehow misbehaved feels entirely plausible to me at any given time. But I was hurt too. Your silence felt like confirmation that I cared more. I was aching for you, and you wouldn't even send me a text. It is difficult to tell what you're thinking about, but I get the sense that your exhaustion goes much farther than me and our relationship. You were still in your first marriage when you were my age. 2 divorces and 16 years later. And I can sympathize with the possibility that you might be feeling a little fed up. It's hard to be sure. I think one of the things that has intrigued me about you the most is how unknowable you are to me. There is a part of your mind that feels like my own, and a part of your mind that is so foreign to me that I can't even begin to decode it. You've cited that as a reason that we shouldn't be together, but ironically, it's what keeps me hanging on to your every word. You are endlessly interesting to me. You said that it seemed like I wanted a relationship that was more fiery. You don't. I want a relationship that is complex and dynamic and profound. I used to believe that relationships were about comfort and compatibility, but now I understand that a meaningful relationship shakes you up. It reveals the parts of yourself that you've ignored, and challenges you in ways that force a sometimes painful transformation. You have unraveled me in the deepest and most necessary way. Now I am exposed and vulnerable, and I don't know what to do with all the love I have for you. I don't know where to put it now that you're not here. I will always believe we were meant to be more than two people with a shared past, so I'll embarrass myself. I'll fall on my sword and try until you tell me not to. Nothing has ever felt more important. And maybe someday when the ache has dulled and the memories feel more like treasures than weapons, I'll be able to look back on all of this and see it for what it really was. Not a failure of love, but a lesson in how to love better. How to love without losing myself. How to be vulnerable without becoming desperate. How to fight for someone without also fighting against them. Until then, I'll carry this love with me. Messy and complicated and real. I'll carry it like a scar, like a song I can't forget, like a prayer I whisper when no one is listening. And I'll keep believing, even when it hurts, that love like ours is worth fighting for, even when we're the ones doing the fighting, even when we're the ones who lose.